that instead of reading his newspaper, he had actually been stuck in the chest with a large knife, which I don't really know how I missed, protruding out of his chestal area, out of his busty substances. And I looked at the knife. It was no ordinary knife. For you see, the blade was going into him at a diagonal angle, which is understandable. Sometimes you have to throw knives from a diagonal angle. But it wouldn't quite come out too easily. And I realized that it was hooked at the end. And so with, of course, people wandering by, doing park things, I sort of pulled out the knife with like a hook-like motion, and it turned out that it was shaped like a 7. Now that's pretty damn kick-ass right there. But it's pretty large, but that was not all. Inscribed upon this knife. What? Oh my god, Aruken, what have you written? Inscribed upon this knife were 3 things. 1, what looked like some sort of identification number. 2, what appeared to be one of those things, you know those things where you have your cell phone and you take a picture of them, and then it does a little dance-like kind of thing, and you get like more information about movie times, or just, you know, usually more advertisements shoved down your gullet. But that's beside the point. It was one of those, and 3 was a set of what looked like coordinates, and what turned out to actually be coordinates, coincidentally. I took this knife, not really thinking much of it, put it in my pocket, because I was wearing a blazer, as you do when you kick ass. And it's not summer. So I went home. Next day, I took out the knife, I did some research. The social security number, which I found out it was belonging to a British person. And I don't think they have social security over there, but just roll with me on this, cause I know for a fact it was actually... The social security was for a false ID owned by a British person who looked almost exactly like Sean Connery in the role of James Bond, which I thought rather odd at the time, and still do, to this very day. It haunts me. It's like post-traumatic stress disorder, only it's Sean Connery. It's like, you know, infinitely more awesome. Though it's not difficult to be infinitely more awesome than post-traumatic stress disorder. Anyways, so the first one belonged to this sort of James Bondy looking guy. The second number, which was... there we go. Okay, I remember what I said about, I don't know, 10 minutes ago, whatever it was. Second item turned out to be a link to the CIA webpage, like their main webpage, their public one, which seems a little odd for the CIA to have, considering that they're basically secret people. But, you know, who am I to judge? You know? Who am I? Who am I to be a judge without going to law school and learning how to become a magician and then getting a job in a late night district court because I was the last one on the list when people called in for a replacement job and they were all out at a football game, but I stayed home and so I got the job. How am I the judge without that? And the third thing was GPS coordinates to what is now past tense Muammar Gaddafi's house in Libya. This all happened some time ago. Or maybe it was this weekend. I don't remember. Something like that. Putting all this together, I gathered that there were some clues leading to a possible conspiracy here. over the next several whatever time period makes sense in this context, I did some research. Jesus. Fuck, dishwashers are frightening. I did some research. I'm gonna talk louder now, because there's a machine shouting water at me. I did some research. And it turned out, after doing some less than legal things, it turned out that the CIA had been working secretly with the Libyan government to create, and get this, to create a cure for AIDS, which is a surprisingly good and noble thing for two rather reputedly ungood organizations to be doing. But, you know, hey, who am I to judge without being some sort of woman with, like, poofy hair and big lipstick and a big black coat and this sort of southern, like, accent who just goes on TV and embarrasses people who got problems, but they aren't real problems, because, you know, you can't put real problems on TV, because who would want to watch that other than, you know, like the Midwest? No offense towards the Midwest at all. Okay, maybe a little bit. Anyways, where was that? AIDS!